Hello everybody, this is the Aquarium Medium. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please like, subscribe, share, and be sure to click on the link if you would like a personal reading. Today I want to talk about the Christ consciousness. What is the Christ consciousness? The Christ consciousness is an energy of containment. God is love. Love has boundaries. In the garden, there's a boundary. It is within the higher state of consciousness that we come in through the rebirthing, regeneration process to contain the energies, to set forth a sphere of influence within the consciousness of life. It is a duality as we know it. But we are bringing a heavenly state of higher consciousness that God foresaw for us through the boundaries of the I Am. The I Am encompasses an integration, everything outside of us, all the stars, all the stuff is a networking of cellular consciousness. This consciousness lives within us. The trillions of cells that you have are imaged in the outside. When Jesus said that if you make the inner the outer and the outer the inner, the age to come is what he prophesied is this time. We are coming into a new shift of thinking, a new way of perceiving our reality. When we probe the sun, we are probing the heart of humanity. When we learn that mind is over matter, we understand that we can heal with our minds. We can manifest with our ways of thinking. Each thought has a magnetic field of its own. When Jesus Christ came in the last incarnation, he came as Jesus and he rose to be the Christ. He learned through trial and error that his mind manifests. He learned that the age of Aquarius is where he shined. That is where his sun was shining with his values. When he rose with the Father, he rose with love, and he understood the boundary. He understood the kingdom that was to come. And that kingdom that is to come manifests on earth. It is a sphere of influence that's within each one of us. I receive the Christ consciousness, and I read it all the time. I understand it on an intuitive level, and I understand how Francis Bacon understood the Christ consciousness and how he was able to be inspired and write the story after coming together with many stories. He understood the role that Christ played, the role that we play. When we come into the world, we have a script. This script is an image that was made in the heavens, but it's not up there. It is everywhere. When you come into this earth, you come in with energies. Those energies are contained in a vehicle, a body. And when you leave this sphere of influence, you leave with these same energies, but you don't necessarily leave. You are just not contained in the physical body anymore. When Christ came with his values in Aquarius. So his values were based off of the Aquarian age. His communications is where he thrived. It was his ambition. It was his third house is ruled by Aries. It's with Uranus. It's with Lilith. And then Apollo begins the Taurus energy with Apollo. Apollo begins the epic for the earth manifestation of the Word. He is the physician that shines the light on truth. He is the physician within each one of us. The fourth house of home is Taurus for Christ. This fourth house means that it was a low point. The earth, coming to earth, was low. He felt low with all the pleasures, the desires that come with the nature of subduing nature and not being cooperative with nature. He saw things. He had been here before. His south node was here in the fourth house of home. He had already been here. He traveled. He was a traveler. He warred with the mental duality of the fifth house. He did not have children. If he had had children, they would have been independent. He was ambitious with the mental gnosis of the higher thinking. And then his sixth house of health leads off with Gemini. But he's got Saturn, he's got Vulcanus, and the moon there in Cancer. And so there is a slowdown at home. There's limits and obstacles at home. There is an explosion of emotions with the reflective mother. The reflective emotions in Cancer were feeling. And so that feeling really didn't come until later on. The feeling of compassion and empathy had to come later. He was a traveler. He traveled all around the world. In the seventh house of partnerships, he knew that this Leo energy, Vesta, Kronos, Eris, Selene, Trans-Pluto, the Vertex, all of those were in Leo. But the seventh house was ruled by Cancer. So this is where he felt empathy. He felt compassion. He had a loyalty with his partnerships, his relationships. That is where he shined in the public eye, was with his compassion and his feeling of emotion. The emotion that he felt is what brought him back into the incarnation of Jesus, who rose to be the Christ. His eighth house was Virgo. It's where he found joy. He found joy with what was hidden, the health aspects that were hidden, the occult, what was hidden, all the Pluto energy. And his midheaven being in Scorpio made him a master physician. The ninth house was in balance. It was about justice. He traveled far and wide. He traveled far and wide. He had Pluto here. So he was transformative when he traveled. He was transformative when he traveled. He could heal those who were in need. He also had Pallas. He had Pallas in the ninth house. Pallas in the ninth house is a higher state of consciousness. It is where he understood this higher state that would shake him up, especially when it hit his magnetic field. He was able to balance this higher state of consciousness to heal other people. His 10th house, how he spent his time with authorities, it was in Scorpio. So his 10th house with authority figures was secretive, it was hidden, it was based off of the knowledge of the thrice great with Scorpio. The Plutonian energy rises. Death, rebirth, and regeneration bring us to our knees. It is where that vertex kicks in, is with these intense experiences that we gain. We grow from the pain. He was able to facilitate his north node here by being the zodiac healer. This is where he made tons of sacrifices, and he had to dissolve the Neptune that was also in the 10th house. This is where he was very prophetic. He knew that the spiritual essence of who he was with God, with us, with these Aquarian values that leads him into that 11th house. That was critical. It was a critical house that begins at 2907. So there is a critical death, rebirth, regeneration that it takes place in the Aquarian age with quick movement, with intuition, with long travel, with explosives. He could understand what was to come in the Aquarian age. And he told his disciples, I am not here for you, per se. You know, you'll be here, but I have come for the age to come. That is why he spoke in parables. You see, here's where he had Jupiter and Ceres. So Jupiter, the teacher about intuition, about mental exploration, the teacher who likes to philosophize, who likes to talk about philosophy, who likes to talk about coming together in unity and diversity with intuition, with a higher state of consciousness that reinforces the natural habitat of our intake of food. And then in the 12th house, this higher state of consciousness, this Christ consciousness, lets go with Sedna. He lets go with the intuitive, quick movement of Sagittarius. Sedna was at a 0-0 in the 12th house of Capricorn. And so there is a mastery of letting go, of detaching. This energy was always regenerating itself within that 12th house. So with the 12th house of God, there was a mastery with his intuitive self. There was a mastery of letting go and just being at one. Because the Inuit goddess Sedna, when she finally let go of the boat, she realized that she was already at one with the water. She was one with everything. And the art of letting go is just to not have these attachments that are worldly, which is why we are to live in the world, but not be a part of the world. Not let it subdue us where we are subduing one another and not being in cooperation. He saw the Aquarian age and he showed us the way to get through these times that we are definitely going into. We're definitely going into these times where we are going to learn so much. You know, this time of sitting still, of having the Rona, that is actually, you know, the corona of the sun. Our magnetic field extends 3 to 6 feet out. We are going through a magnetic shift. We are the earth. We are not separate. We are the consciousness of this planet that is within. Everything is within. We have trillions of cells. We can see each one of our cells is a reflection of who we are, who we've been, where we're going. When you get mad at other people, you're just getting mad at yourself. The only thing that we can control is our attitudes and behavior. We get sucked in. And then we're like, shoot, you know, here we are. But when we get sucked back out, we are liberated. We don't have to get sucked back out to feel liberated. We can liberate ourselves in the here and now. And that's what Christ shows us. He shows the way. We're going to learn our role here and how we are so much more powerful than what the outer church, the outer authorities have told us. I have experienced the dark moon. hitting my Mars degree in the 8th house. I've experienced the nodes hitting the same degree as my Pluto. I have been an observer of energies. I have been a passerby because these energies don't lie. They tell certain stories in our story. It is our script that we came here with. It's our star roll. Our star roll that we came here with allows us to know ourselves from an energetic level, a magnetic level. We can express these energies in its highest form. And that's what Jesus, Christ, consciousness shows. It shows the way to liberate ourselves and to have thy kingdom come and allow this glory to manifest and sweep across the planet. It's a beautiful thing when you look at life from the perspective of this higher state of Christ consciousness. When this consciousness was given to me and I read it, I still read it today, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how we share these energies with Christ and they manifest in different ways. But we always have the power to understand his words. And instead of allowing them to divide us, allowing the diversity within us to unite with all that there is. It's a different perspective, but it's one that is destined for humanity. I just wanted to take some time today, since it was a beautiful day here in the hills of Tennessee, to let you guys know that there is another way to think. There is a higher consciousness. In my chart, I have 1450 with my trans-Pluto. It's how I communicate in the 3rd house. This energy of 1450 is where Christ rises with the Father. And he has inspired me to teach other people how we may manifest a heaven on earth through this higher state of consciousness. So I just wanted to take some time on this beautiful day and let you know that no matter what the outside looks like, there is much more power within us, and we can create. We are creators. Look around at everything that we've created. Let's start creating a heaven on earth. Let's start rising in our higher state of consciousness. Let's start lifting one another up. Let's understand that the yin and the yang is the same. We are destined to be here at this time, to grow one another, to raise one another, because God's will is for heaven, this heavenly state of consciousness, to reside here in this Maya that we call Gaia. Again, the link, if you want a personal read, the link is below. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good jazzy junk. So until next time, we'll see you.